keeping me from being able to sit still.
Well, it's a fun time talking with you because we look at things from a very different area. And I gotta ask people, what if this one thing that Deborah's going to share is the missing piece, the missing link to the healing that so many people have been seeking? Deborah, when you look at the body, you look at energy, what is the thing that you see maybe that other people don't see in the same way? How would you describe what you do?
Well, the first thing is I don't look at the body. I am not fooled by your body because the body is not physical. And we forget this. We get obsessed with looking at the body. That's the problem. That's the first problem we want to knock away. I look at the energy field and I don't even look, I feel it. I can feel the energy field, which is an extension of your body. And the amazing thing about it is that it is a living library. And every answer you're looking for is in your field. So that's where I go, Darius. It's the fastest, safest, easiest way to find out what's going on without talking about it and searching and staring at these symptoms.
So you're feeling into this field. All right. So everyone remember, it's not necessarily about your body. And that may be why something is lingering and no one else is able to reach it,
Uh,
maybe until today, right?
exactly, because many things that are going on have not formed in the physical yet in the way that that the current equipment would even be able to detect. So, for example, if the root of your physical issues have to
Mm.
do with the mind or the emotions, there's not a diagnostic test on the planet that's going to find it. And the body is the last place anything shows up. It's in the field first. And your body is showing you what is going on at a much deeper level than the physical. And yet we're obsessed with the physical.
Yeah. Interesting. For people just diving in or joining the call, how did you start to open the door to resolving what could be for some these hidden roots of trauma, chronic symptoms, discomfort, etc.? How did this open up for you, Deborah?
It opened up for me because I went through health hell. I
Mm,
crashed and burned over 30 years ago, 35 years ago now.
mm,
Uh, my life looked great from the outside looking in, but I was just full of anxiety. I was depressed when I wasn't anxious. My hair was falling out. I had pain from head to toe. My thyroid didn't work. My digestion didn't work. I was just a mess and nothing showed up on a medical test.
mm,
And I come from a medical family. No one could figure this out. And so I pretended that everything was fine, but it was so not fine. And even though I was functioning, one day I crashed. I literally fell onto the floor of my closet and I couldn't get up and I couldn't stop crying and I couldn't go to work. And I knew I was out of the ability to fake it till you make it that day. I just was done. And I had
mm.
no more ideas, you know? And I screamed out to, at the time, a God I did not believe in. I just said, if there's anything, anybody out there, please help me. And I had an experience that rocked me to the core. And a huge, palpable, undeniable force of love and peace filled my closet. I was surrounded by this love, this unconditional love, and this deep inner peace that I had never felt in my life. I heard an inner voice that was saying, everything's fine. You're going to be fine. And I also heard you're going to heal and then you're going to help others. And I went, oh my God, I'm losing my mind.
Mm,
How is this possible? But I immediately stopped crying and I felt deep peace.
mm.
And Darius, from that day forward, I started a whole new life. And I started meditating again, which I had stopped. And I had a series of these experiences that revealed what today I know are all the foundational principles of quantum physics. Now, I was not a scientific girl. That
Mm.
was a class I wanted to skip. And so
Right.
what I was shown, the walls are made of light and energy vibrating. The body is not physical. I was shown all these sounds I could hear and see and feel the invisible realm. And I was shown that it was the precursor to the physical. And this is what makes everything possible for change. Doesn't matter what's going on in the body, it's all changeable. And that just changed the direction of my life. It's a long journey, but from that day forward, I never looked back. My career changed, my home changed, my husband changed, my clothing changed, my everything changed. And this is what's enabled me to do the work that I'm still doing today.
Wow, that is amazing. When people hear that, they may say, "Oh gosh, I wish I had that transformation in that closet." But the beautiful thing about what you're doing is you've put this together into an understandable, replicatable system. And we're going to be talking about how this works and what Deborah's discovered. Now, you've worked with a lot of people who had not just, okay, maybe a loss of life direction or they weren't feeling fulfilled. You've worked with people that had some very tough, very chronic type of situations.
Mm.
And I mean, we're going to share some stories that are pretty amazing. Of course, everyone's different, but what is the reason that you find some people are not able to soul heal no matter what they do?
It has to do with our state of consciousness. And what I mean by that is our habits of thought and our unresolved emotions. These invisible forces are the precursor to everything that shows up in the physical body. And yet we live in a world that basically says you got to figure it out with your mind and you should believe what external authorities tell you. And don't you dare bring those emotions here. It's unprofessional, it's immature. So we've grown up learning things that other people taught us instead of questioning everything that other people taught us. And
Yes.
we've grown up ignoring and denying and suppressing and repressing our emotions, which are the most important factor that is at the root of dis-ease.
Interesting. So the emotions. Now, a lot of people believe that these emotions might be in the body or they might be in organs. Tell me about kind of where you are discovering that some of these things could lie that maybe others aren't yet talking about.
Well, all emotions have a particular frequency.
Hmm.
And same with thoughts, with beliefs. There's a particular vibrational frequency with every belief you have and every emotion. The emotions are, think of everything as energy, but the thoughts and the emotions are more subtle. And by that, I mean more invisible. And so, but they are making the car drive.
Mm.
Those emotions are like the gas that makes the car drive. So if we are not, it's not like we're looking for them in the body, but we know from things like Chinese medicine that every emotion correlates to a particular organ. So they've seen that relationship for thousands of years. And somehow along the trail of modern medicine, this got put into the woo-woo category and ignored. But emotions carry frequencies, and these frequencies are affecting our nervous system, our immune system, the organ system, the musculoskeletal system, you name it, it's affecting us. And if you repeat long enough, these beliefs and these emotions are what shows up in the physical. That makes sense?
Yes. Yes. And so it shows up in the physical. Do they leave clues as to maybe the root or the place where they begin when you see something in the physical?
Well, they are the root. See, our
Mm.
biofield will record every experience that we've gone through. And every experience we've gone through either was harmonious with us or that it was a disturbance to us. Now, we're talking from the minute before you're born, when you're in the womb. And if you accept the idea of prior lives, your soul has had vibrational experiences for eons of time. Now, these all got recorded in your biofield, and you bring them with you. And then we come into physical form, and the body is telling the story of our past and our current life experiences. They all get imprinted vibrationally. They get imprinted in the field, and then the field is communicating to the body, with the body, to every cell in your body. So if we don't resolve these disturbances and get them harmonized, this is why people from a very young age, they have fears and phobias and
Right.
habits. It just keeps magnifying until we get it harmonized.
Now, you mentioned something, a word that I've kind of trickled in and out of here, called the biofield. And a lot of people are going to say, wait a minute, what is this new term? What is that? What does that mean? Explain a little bit about what you discovered that was different than probably what you had heard before after that experience. What is this biofield?
So we live in a gigantic
Okay.
ocean of information. And this is an information field that it's more than just, oh, I have energy. It's literally vibrational information. And it's in physics, we talk about quantum entanglement. We are all connected, unified via the field. And we each have our own individual energy field, which the National Institute of Health, of all places,
Mhm.
coined the term biofield to describe the field of energy and information that surrounds every living thing, including our body. But when I had my experience, I had the physical, kinesthetic, auditory, and visual experience of being connected to all that is this ocean, this entanglement. And I'm talking about galactic, the stars, the
Mm.
planets, the plants, the animals, and every human being. We all carry a vibrational frequency. We all have a part to play here. We all have a sound. And when all of our sounds play together, it is the most glorious music I've ever heard in my life. And that's where what we're all doing in the field that we're unaware of. We're all singing together. We're playing our music together all the time. But when we come to planet Earth and we have our earthly experiences in the 3D, we sometimes forget or get lost or just keep only focusing through this little pin dot of awareness in the 3D. And that's where people get confused.
Okay, where is this? Where is this field? People might be saying, okay, is this in my body? Is it in my mind? Is it around
Okay.
me? You've mentioned it kind of records experiences going through childhood and different even lifetimes. So where is it? Where is this record that even could have some scratches on it? Where is it?
Your body, right? You think
Okay,
you think it ends at your skin? No.
right.
Beyond your skin is a more subtle energetic field that extends out. I want you to think of an ice cube that you can
Okay.
see and touch and hold, but water vapor made of the same substance, but it's more subtle. So you can still see water vapor, but you can't hold on to it. It's lighter. It's more etheric. That's like your energy field. It's part of you. It's an extension of you. It's not separate from you. And your field might be invisible to your eyes, but you can learn to feel it, to sense it. You're
Mm,
sensing it probably much of the time and you don't even realize it, especially those of you who consider yourself to be too sensitive or empathic. You're not too sensitive. You have a much more open feeling ability to sense the energy field of yourself and other people. And until you learn how to manage that, it can feel like too much information all at once.
okay. So when you plug in to bodies,
Mhm.
and you get a sense of something in this field that is discordant or that is causing the
Mhm.
issue. How does that show up for you? How are you
Ah.
becoming aware of this?
So I use my hands, which have the largest energy centers in the body, and I'm able to scan. Think of what an MRI machine does. It scans your energy field and it picks
Right.
up vibrational information. I have been able to develop and really highly refine the same ability. I'm able to scan the energy field and within instantly. I feel where there are changes in the field, where there are disturbances, I can literally feel sometimes just different sensations that represent pain or where there's disturbances. And I will also hear, I'm very auditory, so I hear sounds and tones, and I can see the auric field around the body, but I don't really use that as my primary sense. I'm a feeler. And it doesn't matter whether I'm working individually or with a group, because as a group, we form a collective field, but when I work on that field, you get individual results. I just have developed
Yeah.
a futuristic ability that we're all capable of doing, but it's no different than these very high-tech devices that are out now that will sense the energy field. We forget we've been given everything that we need to survive and thrive without external authority or external devices. God has given us everything that we need to thrive and to be perfect, whole, and complete.
Mhm. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. People are going to be thinking, wow, this is really interesting. Do people just feel better? Do they just have like more kind of positive outlook? But the truth is, they can have that. But you've had people with some, I mean, miraculous turnarounds. What are some of the things you've seen through the high speed healing technique and some of the things that have happened with some of your clients?
So exciting, so mind-blowing. Every day I get excited about working with people because I've seen everything from, wow, I slept for the first time in 15 years without a drug, to, oh my God, I'm eating again, I'm digesting food, I'm not in pain, to my migraines went away, to I had MS and have been in a wheelchair my entire life, and I just stood up and walked.
Well, I remember that story. Can you share a little bit about that? And I'm gonna say for, transparency and also just being very clear, everyone is different.
Yeah.
So, we don't know how these energies are going to affect the bodies. We're not promising, if you have that, this is what's going to happen. But you've got to understand there's a greater force out there that is aligned to holistic health. And that's what we're aiming to connect people to. Tell me about that story because I remember that a lady had MS and then you read her field, her BioField, and then she was able to get out of the chair. Tell me what happened.
Well, this is a fascinating story. Not only was she a lady, she was a physicist.
Oh
She was
gosh.
a physicist who understood quantum mechanics 1,000 times better than I do. And she had studied this and she knew it was possible to heal, but she could not figure out how. And she had tried everything under the sun. I'm talking modality after modality after modality. And Darius, I never saw her. I never spoke to her. I never scanned her field. Are you ready for this? She listened to the recording of my
Oh,
day of biofield healing. And she emailed me the next day and she said, I listened to the recording of your day of healing and I stood up for the first time in my life. And not only that, she had been attacked and had severe trauma, and she said, Deborah, I could feel the trauma being pulled out of my body. And I feel happy again and like free from this. And then, I mean, Darius, this is what's possible. We're
mm,
talking extraordinary, life-changing. And some people, like you mentioned, it will happen instantaneously. A lot happen at once, all at once. And some people, uh, it's a slower process. People will not get more than they can handle. And most people have this idea that, oh, I want everything to change overnight. But truthfully, if everything changed overnight, a lot of people, it would terrify them. And so you will only experience what's best for you. And I don't decide that. It's decided by your soul level. So you and your soul are in cahoots on this. I just bring in the frequencies. I am not controlling the process here. It's your own body's ability to heal when it is experiencing the communication with the proper frequencies.
Yeah, I mean, we've got, I mean, all sorts of stories. I think you've even interviewed that lady that went from MS to walking. You also had a lab volunteer, I
Yes.
guess, a science lab volunteer, Caroline,
Oh,
that had shifts in your session. What happened there?
oh, Caroline, this was remarkable. So I'd never met her. I did not know what her diagnosis was. They brought her into a scientific research lab where they can measure subtle energy and how the energy is affecting the meridians, the organs, the mind, and the emotions. And I was not talking, I didn't speak with her beforehand. I just started working in her biofield, no touching.
Hmm.
And they measured her before and after, and then she shared what happened. Well, when we were finished and they showed the before and after pictures of her energy field,
Oh,
they showed measurable results. There was a 51% decrease in all of her pain symptoms. She had been diagnosed, which I found out after, fibromyalgia, arthritis. She had a double cataract. She had an eardrum injury, so her hearing was impaired. She had a spinal curvature with extraordinary curvature and pain in her spine. She had not slept without a sleeping aid in, I think it was 12 years. She had to stop working and traveling and visiting her kids and her grandkids because the pain was so great. She said, when they told her it measured 51% decrease, she said, "Oh, no, no. I am 99% pain free as of this moment." She, we followed her for several months. Within 2 weeks, she had to pull off the side of the road driving her car because she thought her glasses were fogging up. And when she took them
oh,
to clean her glasses, she looked up. She was seeing 20/20, no more cataracts. When she went back to her physical therapist, she walked in the door and her therapist said, "What the hell have you been doing? Your spine is perfectly straight." So you see, this work affects the physical structure. She said her depression, anxiety, she slept like a baby after this. She changed on all levels, emotional, physical, structural, mental, energetic, all of the above.
Yeah, and this is actually her. So I thought, if y'all are like, wow, that's amazing. Well, we've got her like on video. We're gonna talk about that. Literally, there's Deborah, right? You never touched her.
Never
Yeah,
touched.
from what okay, yeah,
No.
amazing. I mean, yeah, you're gonna get to watch this and a lot more. I mean, this is pretty incredible stuff. I mean, all of these things getting realigned,
Mhm.
vision improving,
Mhm.
pain levels going down. Was there in her case like a common root or a common start to all of these conditions?
There may have been, quite frankly, with her. I
Okay.
did not work with her at that level. I only worked
Oh,
with her biofield. You see, with other
hmm,
people now, when I work with people privately or in my groups, I like to go and help people see what the roots are and get rid of their blind spots so they don't keep contributing unknowingly to the problem that's showing up in the body. With Caroline, we never even had that kind of conversation, and all of this resolved, which is so exciting because it's still, the possibility of everything changing without the deeper discussion is very, very possible. But what I found
yeah.
over the years of working with so many people is that there's a percentage of people who they will heal, maybe 4 to 6 sessions. They feel amazing, sometimes right away after the first or second session, but I get these phone calls a year later, 6 months later, 2 years later. "Deborah, the symptoms came back. Why?" And in every case, when I had a conversation, it always had to do with their belief system and their emotions. And so this is why I get so passionate about
Hmm.
teaching people to look deeper. You've got to look deeper because we're here to become a master. I don't want you dependent on me the rest of your life. I want you to become a master and understand how you think and what you're doing with your emotions so that you can learn to release them on your own and feel in your power 24/7. And like Darius said at the beginning of the call, we can't control all the chaos around us, but we can become the lighthouse. We
Yeah.
become the core, the eye of the storm when you learn certain tools. So that's, it's different folks, different strokes for different folks.
Yeah, incredible. And this is the beautiful thing about it is you show people how to maintain whatever release, unlock, dive into in the immersions that you do. I also find it interesting that you didn't necessarily need to go to the source of what Caroline was dealing with. And better for her, she didn't have to relive it or excavate all these old things. You just said you were working in the field. Now, can you describe, Deborah, maybe for people who are following along wondering, what did you do in the field, or what was it that was changing in the field as you were working there?
Yes, and I'll elaborate that the source of it, the root will be in the field, but it doesn't have to be intellectually understood for me to shift it and harmonize it. So when I work in the field, what I'm doing is I'm your adapter. You know, when you go to Europe and you have to have your hair dryer. I'm the
Yeah.
adapter between you and the cosmos. And the cosmos is live streaming 24/7
Mm.
every frequency under the sun that's a healing frequency that you might need. So I'm able to bring in the entire bandwidth of these frequencies for you to give you the leg up so that you can connect to these. And I bring them in, and then you'll resonate, you'll vibrate with the ones that you need. And these
Oh.
frequencies clear and harmonize the disturbances in your energy field. And so
Oh.
the roots of the problem that it may take 10 years to find what happened when I was 6 years old, and you may never find it because you may not remember it, especially those of you with childhood trauma. You're not going to remember it. Sometimes it feels like a dream. You're not even sure it's real.
Yeah.
But the roots of it are a vibrational signature that I can feel and find in your field, and these frequencies that you need to harmonize them show up for you. And what happens is you may start to have emotions come up and release. You may have physical pain come up and release.
Release.
You may find your spine moving, your
Mm.
whole body might move. And that's because your body's been holding on to these tension patterns and it starts to release without us even talking about it. The beliefs that you picked up from all these people and parents and religion and school, guess what? They are a vibrational signature. And if they're not serving you, if they're not for your highest and best good, if they really are not in alignment with your natural state, your God-given state, they will come up and release. And they can transform and
Oh.
transmute instantly. And this is why many people I've worked with who had trauma or who were in abusive relationships, Darius, overnight, many of them said, Deborah, I cannot believe what came out of my mouth. I told my abuser, don't you ever, I'm leaving. This is ending right now. But
Yeah.
we're back in their power because see, these disturbances are not our natural self. They were
Yeah.
learned, they were conditioned, they were given to us. And at the time that it happened, we didn't know any better and we didn't have the boundaries and we didn't have the tools to say no to it.
Amazing. Amazing. We're going to dive into more of this. I want to share a story from Lori, and I want to get into belief because one of the things that I think makes this really unique is you may not necessarily even have to believe that this is going to work for it to work for you. I want to share a story from Lori, but I want to again say this is not a replacement for, medical advice, treatment, or guidance. But Lori W. actually had diabetes. She was insulin dependent for 30 years, taking two different kinds of insulin. She attended your 1 day event and her blood sugars began to drop dramatically. In 6 weeks, she didn't need what she was using. She lost 20 pounds and didn't change her diet. Now she's lost 90 pounds since the last update. She had numbness in both of her legs gone. Her life changed in every way. She was even having seizures, it sounds like, several a
Yes.
week. And she said it even one began right before the BioField session call, and then it stopped on the call. She hasn't had another one in 2 years. Tell me about Lori. And again, everyone, I want to be clear. Everyone is different, right? We're talking about getting your body back to that natural balance, harmonic state. And, how it's going to affect you, we don't know. But we know what we don't want. And so we don't want that discordancy like so many of these people were feeling. Tell me about Lori.
Yeah, Lori, wow. She had a lot of disturbance going on that was showing up physically and emotionally. And it was just remarkable because within one day, all of
Hmm.
these things started changing. Um, and I'll give you the latest update. She had not been able to go to school and get a degree. She was having trouble working because of all her disabilities from, these disturbances. She went back to school. She got a degree. She earned money. She bought her first house. She got married. We're talking
Huh?
such a
Wow.
transformation. And for her, she was one of those fortunate ones. She didn't have a lot of emotional upheaval. She
Okay.
just started physically releasing. She told me that her body moved a lot and that she started to feel a deep sense of peace and she just felt more hopeful. And then when she measured her blood sugar, she could tell, oh my God, they're dropping rapidly. And like you shared, within no time, she was off her medications. And she went to the doctor, of course, and the doctor said, wow, I don't know what happened here, but you don't need these anymore. And so
Wow.
I've seen this met with many people. I don't know, I can't really explain why this happens so rapidly for people who are, have diabetes, but I have seen this again and again. And it's the sign of frequencies harmonize the disturbances. I want you to think of a guitar. Think of a guitar that's out of tune. The strings are all there. The guitar looks perfect, but it's not playing normal harmonious music.
Hmm.
We don't throw out the guitar. We don't cut it up. We don't cut off the strings. What do? We tune up the
Tune it.
strings and then it vibrates properly again and the beautiful music plays again. Your body, my body, we are a living, walking guitar. And when we tune up your strings, the music must play harmoniously again. That's all what we're doing.
Wow. Do you have to believe that this is going to work? And then I want to go to some callers. I'm also going to do something else. Everyone who's listening on the live stream, I almost forgot, we're going to be cutting the live stream and everyone on Zoom, we're going to continue. We're going to actually get a taste of this process with Debora Wayne. So if you want to check out the process, we're going to have the full interview on our UWealth Revolution private servers. So just click the link in the description. It should be right there. And everyone who is here, raise your hand because we're going to get to some questions.